Have you ever been, say, standing by a road next to somebody and then you just had this thought or this urge to push the other person in the traffic? Yeah, me neither. That's crazy. You ever have stuff just pop into your mind that's like, where the heck did that come from? Well, I want to talk to you about your thought life. And this is really, really important because I really hope you get this. You are not everything that comes into your mind. Okay? You have probably experienced in your life some thoughts that were good, some thoughts that were bad, and some thoughts were like where the heck did that come from? And so I want to explain it to you in a way that will be helpful. And it's this. So when I was younger, you didn't have as much like digital marketing where you would see advertisements on your phone and different things. You would see a lot of people that would go from door to door and they would sell things. So you would have door to door vacuum cleaner salespeople, door to door like encyclopedia salespeople, and they just knock on doors and say, "Hey, we're selling this product. Are you interested in this?" And so that was a lot more common back in my day than it is today. So I bring this up to give you an example of the thought life and the things that come into your mind. Now, there's a lot of people that are tormented in their mind because they have thoughts that they can't control and they feel guilt and they feel shame about it. But I want to set you straight on something. You are like a house on that street, and there's door-to-door salesmen that come and they knock on the door. Could be a vacuum salesman, could be an encyclopedia salesperson, candy bar, maybe Girl Scouts, something like that. And you have a choice in that moment when they knock on your door and say, "Hey, we're selling this, blah, 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 blah." You can decide that you're either going to buy it or you're not going to buy it. And that's how it is with thought life. So you have a choice. You're going to have thoughts pop into your head. Sometimes you can't control what pops into your head, but you can decide whether you're going to act on it or whether you're just going to reject it and say no, just like the salesperson, like, "No, thanks. I'm not interested in that today." And then you just decline it. And you make choices about what thoughts you're going to agree with and what you're going to do. I heard this example one time, and you may have heard this before, about thoughts are kind of like birds that just fly around over your head. Sometimes you can't control that and what they're doing up there, but you can keep them from nesting on your head. And that's kind of how the thought life is. You can say no to some of these thoughts. So where do those thoughts come from? Well, they come from three different sources, in my opinion. One is they come from God. They come from the devil, the enemy, Satan, the deceiver. And we have our own mind. We have our own creative mind. So those are the three places thoughts can come from. That's why sometimes you might have a good thought and you're like, okay, well, I didn't just self-generate this thought. Perhaps it's God talking to you, trying to tell you something. Or maybe you have this evil thought come to your mind and you're like, where the heck did that come from? Well, that would be from the enemy, the devil. And then sometimes you just have your own thought about, "Oh, I'd like to do this someday," or, "Oh, I don't want to do this." And those are some of your own thoughts. So don't be tormented anymore by thoughts. Just put them in their place when they come in, just like a salesperson come into your door. You can either buy what they have to sell or you can turn it down and reject it. So when you have bad thoughts that are destructive, you just reject those. You turn them down and say, "No, thank you, not interested." And then decline it. Big rejection, decline. Don't allow it into your life. And it's that simple. And sometimes if you're not trained and you're used to just believing everything that comes into your mind, you're going to have to say no a few times, because those quote unquote salespeople are going to be persistent, because in the past you have just let whatever thought came in be your reality. So there might be times where you're like, nope, not going to do it. Nope, not going to do it. Nope, I choose not to do it. And that's the freedom we have. I mean, think about this. If you have the freedom to go and rob a store right now, I mean, you do, right? You can get in a car, go to a store and rob it. Or you can go and do something dangerous or bad to somebody. You have that freedom to do it. It doesn't mean there won't be any consequences for you doing that, but you have the freedom to do it or to not do it. If you have a responsibility that you know you need to do and you don't do it, that's a freedom that you have. Now, yeah, we're free to choose, but we're not free from the consequences of our choices. But my point is if we have such a freedom to where we could go and just kill somebody if we wanted to, shouldn't we have the same freedom and power to say no to thoughts that come to our mind? And that's how it is. We have the power of choice as a human being to say yes and say no to things that we want in our life or don't want in our life. So your thought life and the things that come into your mind are not necessarily you, and it's important that you understand that. If you don't get that point, you're going to be bound up and feel afraid and in shame, and why did I think that, and I'm a terrible person. No, it only becomes terrible when you take those thoughts, quote unquote, by what it says, and you do what your thought is telling you to do. That's when it becomes an issue. So I want this to encourage you. This is another reason why it's important to what you let into your mind. Now, if you like watching a lot of, say, horror movies, there's just a natural thing that's going to come with that. As far as, let's say you go to a movie theater, you watch this horror flick, and you get out and you're walking to your car and you're just kind of looking over your shoulder and you're imagining, okay, there's somebody in the back seat of my car, or there's somebody in my trunk. Okay, you get home, like, oh, there's somebody in my house, and you're just super skeptical and skittish. Well, part of that is just some of what you're allowing your mind to be exposed to. If you're watching movies that have a lot of sexual content, well, you're going to have random thoughts and images pop up in your head throughout the day. You're going to be battling those things. So what we let into our minds it's important. We just kind of have to watch it. Otherwise, you're increasing the intensity of the salespeople coming to your door. And so that's one of the reasons why we're careful about, that old song that says, be careful little eyes what you see, and be careful little ears what you hear. That's why that's important. But I just want to finish this up by saying, if you're tormented by your thoughts, understand that they are not all your thoughts, and you have a choice to either do or don't do them, to believe them or not. If they're bad, just reject them. If they're good, be sensitive to the thought that God might be trying to nudge you in a particular direction, because he definitely does do that. So, hope this is helpful to you, and I hope you can be free in your mind and enjoy life. The Bible does say that we have the mind of Christ once we surrender our lives to him, that he really helps us with that. We become a new creation, and he has given us a way to help our minds and the thoughts that come in. The Bible says that if you read the Bible, you are renewing your mind. And so I think that's also very powerful. But this is Dave Miller, and we're continuing our journey on a life with meaning. And we'll see you on the next one.